Okay, so let's start with our first objective of this task one. So the main title says that send me the data. Okay, this is the product requirement we have. First A objective is that you are supposed to show the name, whatever the name in UI, but make sure that you send the name from parent to parent component. The requirement is that define a parent component, create a parent component that will send the data to the child component, use data in child component. uh, Basically you will have to use that data inside a child component. This is very simple. I know this might sound very childish because this is the A level that we start with. If you already know this, you can proceed ahead or skip a bit, but let's try to build this. So let's try to create one file called greet.js. Okay, then we have app.js. Then let me okay, let me just take this instead of app. This is my greet. Okay, this is my greet component. Okay, and then I'm gonna return only one statement for now. So one suggestion I would give is go step by step. You don't have to hurry and try to do everything at once. Now I'll have to call this greet inside my app.js. Okay, perfect. So we should get only one hello code sandbox as expected. Now the second thing we have to do is this should be dynamic. The name, not dynamic, but the name should come from the props. So we know how do we send the prop. We have to send a data to a prop. Say I'll say as a name. For now, I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'll just say John. It's suggesting me to do send me that name. I'm just going to send this. The next part is I'll have to receive these props inside my child component. Now this is my prop. Okay. This is my prop and I'm trying to access this inside this. We know JS, this is a JSX where I'm trying to use it. Use my props dot name. So it will suggest me. Okay. Okay. If you see the child component is showing the prop that is sent from parent component. This was my first objective. Now okay, we have reached our objective and that is perfect. Now let us learn two things here. It's very simple, but still why do we have to call this props dot name? Let's try to destructure that inside this only, because name, it is an object and we're trying to get the props from that. So let's just use the name here. We don't have to create a props, that is an objective, and inside that objective we have a name as a one prop, and we are trying to access that using props.name. Instead of that, let's destructure all the props that we are sending and we can just use it here. Okay, this is my first step. So we have reached our I think this is what was required for a first objective. Now let us go for the second objective. On click of text, it should log the name which is shown, which is seen on the screen. Console log the value received by the props. Very simple. So what they're asking is, we have when on clicking of this, we should be able to show the name that is being sent in the console. Very simple, right? This is a very bad way, but still, since they are asking us to do, let us just try to do this. So it's a function. On call of this, I'm gonna say console dot log. So name we already have, that is a prop, correct? So understand, so we are getting the prop, we are trying to console log the prop on click of h1. Very simple, very straightforward, there's nothing fancy about it. Let me try it. I'm clicking on this, now I'm printing this. If you see, I'll press again, it's printing. So perfect. So we solved our second objective also. Very simple. Next we'll go for the next objective. Create one more child component which shows a age on the screen along with hello greeting, and on click of the text it should console log the age. So similar to what we have done now for the name, hello name, we have to show the age also. What we are supposed to do, it's very simple. We have to create one more child component similar to this. Let me create that straight away. Say age dot js. Okay, then okay, so we have to export. Let me do this, and this should be age. Inside age, let me just not do anything fancy. Let's say age. Okay, age equal age, say 25 for now, and I need to use this here. So this is my second component, say age. That's it. So this is my second objective, but it has two things again, which is like we'll have to send the prop, the age as a prop. That is important because the concept is prop itself. I'm gonna send this to this, and inside age we already know we can destructure this and get the age directly instead of using props.age. Then I'll say age. Okay, since I can't see if it's really getting it from this, I'll just do this. Okay, now we know we are sending a age as a prop and we're just using this. Similar to this, I'm not gonna write this entire thing. I'll just copy this. On click of H1 we are supposed to show the age. Perfect. Okay, let me clear this out, refresh again. Nothing fancy. Now I'm clicking on John, it should console log the John. I'm clicking on 20, it should console log the 20. Very easy, very straightforward, nothing fancy. Okay, so three objectives are done. We learned here a few concepts. One is how to send a prop from parent to the child, and how to destructure a props and get use of it directly, and then using multiple child components. Okay, now is the important task, that is my fourth task. So if you see, this is expected and we are getting it. Now the main objective here is lifting the function and sending data from child to parent. This is very important. Since we have two functions written separately for each child, move this to the parent component, send data from child to parent, console log the data on click of respective item. See, this makes very sense. This is uh, a requirement which makes very sense, right? So we have two child components which is doing same. It's just logging the prop that we have. We are not doing anything else. So why do we and both of these are being called in the same parent component. It's not like it's in a different component. So why do we have to keep like write multiple functions which does the same thing? So that's a main objective of React also. We don't have to repeat these things, right? So instead of keeping this on clicks inside of on click function inside of the child components, let's try to pull this up and put it in parent component. So here we will learn something very interesting. Okay, let's try to do this first. So how do we do it? Now we know how to pass a data from parent to child. Now, what is the requirement we have? That we have to trigger a function which is written in app.js on click of the child component, correct? So let's just try to write one logger function, say logger, which doesn't do anything. It just say console.log. It won't say hello, but whatever we are trying to get from there, we'll just try to console log this. We won't do anything else. Okay, this is my logger. Now this logger is doing the same thing what is being done here also. Okay, why can't we send this as a prop to this components and call that prop inside the child component? What I mean to say is, let's try to send this logger. Okay, I'll explain what we are trying to do here. And then I'm trying to receive this logger here. Okay, instead of writing this, what I'll do is I'll say logger. Wait, okay, instead of doing this, I'll just do this because logger is already defined outside. And here also I'll just say along with the name I'm receiving a logger prop also. I'll just use it. That's it. Okay, let me just see if it's actually working or not, and then I'll explain you what we are doing. So we have a logger. Okay, let me click on John. It's console logging. Let me click on 20. It's console logging. Now if you see, we don't have multiple functions, and on click of that, it's console logging, which was the expected. And then we have done a lot of optimization, a lot of things we have done. Okay, a simple concepts, very simple concepts. One is we are trying to send a method, callback method function, or to the child component as a prop, which means what will happen. Okay, on click of this, I'm calling a logger, which is a prop, which is defined inside app.js, which comes here, which is defined here. It will print what we are trying to send. Very simple. Because both are calling the same logger function with a different data, we are able to print it. Now what we have learned here, the first concept is send. Before that, where are we getting this data? We are getting this data from child component, correct? If I say age plus, suppose the requirement was add to the age and then send, then we should get 22 on click of this. Okay, this is because um, this is a string, right? So we'll have to convert this and make it. So that anyway we will learn later. So because string we are trying to append with the integer, it will be 2 not 2. That makes sense in JavaScript anyway. So we are trying to send a data from, this is a child component to parent component. That is our first concept. Second is we are trying to, how do we send a method to a child component and call back that method? We have learned that. Third is optimization, is that instead of writing multiple statements inside a child component, we are trying to pull that up and putting it in uh, the parent component. Suppose you have a real-time application in your project, and if you are doing something nonsense inside a child component, which is required by multiple child components, then just pull it up and put it in the parent component. That will be helpful. That can be used in all the child components. Okay, and then we have learned one more thing. This is a stateless and a pure component, because it is not maintaining any states. It doesn't have any state. It's that's why it's like stateless. The second is for every, now if I do +2, that is not the value. So like for every input or every props, it will log the same output. For example, if I send 20, it won't do anything. It will send for the same prop, it will do the same item, or it will perform the result or the output of that will be same. So for every prop, if the output are same, then that is called as a pure component. And we have written two different pure components which is doing the same. Suppose if I send here as a bob, this will be this will be hello bob for all the time. It won't change at any point of time. So such components are called as a pure component. We learned a stateless component, and then we learned how to send a props from child to parent and parent to child, and then we learned a bit of optimization, and then we learned how to uh, pass a method to a child component. Okay, this is pretty much about, I think we covered all the objectives. So I hope we have covered all the concepts also. So if in the interview, if they ask, I'm gonna give you a brief on how to answer in an interview. Suppose they have asked you, all right, like explain a simple way of optimizing a component of you, if you have done ever. Just write two components, show that we, instead of doing this, we are doing this. That is one way. And if they ask you to write how do we send uh, the prop from child to parent, then write one simple component, call a method, and send it. And then we also know how to destructure, and instead of using that, we are directly destructuring in the function itself. I think we have covered most of the items from task one. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you so much.